Episode 10, Barcelona testing wrap-up.
It's good to see Mercedes, looking strong again because they've basically been beaten by their customer team the last couple of years.
So
Which must be
yeah,
like salt in Toto's wound. And of course, I'm sure Zach hasn't milked that at all.
Welcome to the Two Mechanics podcast. Kenny Handkammer and Mark Grain have 18 Formula One World Championships between them, have been in the Guinness Book of World Records twice. They have over 30 years of motorsport stories between them, not to mention the 40,000 beers. Cheers. What you say?
Hello, Mark. What are we saying?
Ken. Well, what are we saying? I think what we're saying is the behind closed doors, secretive Barcelona test. They called it a shakedown, but it's a test. Is all done, and I'm sure there are many people who are happy that it's over. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we know. I mean, I don't know how many times you've been there, but I know I've been there at least 50 or 60 times. And between us,
91. Do you remember? It was 1991 that we started going there. Crikey.
Yeah, and sometimes a couple of times a year, right? We'd do 2 or 3 tests at Barcelona before we even got going.
Oh, yeah.
And it's bloody cold as well that time of year.
Honestly,
it's up on that hill. It's up on that hill, and it cuts you in half.
Yeah. And what are the less really unsavoury aspects to it for anybody listening is just around the corner. I suppose it's still there. There was an abattoir, wasn't there? And sometimes it'd be the awful smell. It's horrible. Oh yeah, and it's not one of my favourite circuits, I must admit, Barcelona.
No, but we used to stay in a little town called Granollers.
Yeah.
Up the road, and actually Tony Boas sent me a message from there the other day because we used to always go out and obviously enjoy the local tapas food, and it's a fantastic little village. So I'd highly recommend that to any listener if they're going to go for the races. Go and stay in Granollers, and you can get a train as well. It's just quite good. Yeah,
that's very true. Yeah, and it's not it's not a hideous journey back into the centre of Barcelona, is it? If you want to.
No.
For like I say, anybody who would like to do the race and then stay in the town, that's not bad either. Yeah, good point. So all done. The only car that nobody's seen still is the Williams.
Oh, I saw that this morning. Actually, I saw a picture of it this morning.
Is that? I think that's just a livery launch, though, isn't it?
Don't know because the side
I've not had a proper look, if I'm honest. So yeah.
Yeah, the side pod intake was much bigger and wider than all the others that I've seen.
Yeah.
So if we've seen, that's probably one of the big differences of the side pod intakes are much more reduced than previous years because of the airbox and etc. etc. But we're not going to go into some deep technical shit here. So so we ended up with McLarens. At the end, I know it's testing times don't mean a great deal. Oscar was quickest, and that's
was he quickest just on the last day? Was it Lewis who was? I think it was Lewis who was fastest overall. Was he? I don't know. Yeah. I'd have to check. Yeah. I mean, for me, Ken, lap times. At this stage, you know that a lap time is a morale boost, shall we call it that, right? And if you're inside the team, you'll know how much fuel you had on board. You'll know obviously everybody will know what tyres you were running, but there's all of those things that things at play, aren't there?
And you don't know what everybody else is on, do you?
You just don't know.
There's a lot of I can tell you for 100% that Aston Martin is on a lot of fuel, probably.
Yeah.
Knowing what the little bit I know about how
Adrian likes to operate. Yeah.
Yes. But it's obviously got some issues, that car as well. So, it's just first they've done no laps, right? It's just almost like a shakedown.
I mean, I love the fact that it's come out and it's making everybody look at it. That for me is fantastic. I like the way that the exit exit cooling is different. The front suspension, which looks like a beam spring that kind of running across the front kind of setup, which is so weird, so far out of what we've been doing Formula One for years. That the rear suspension forms like a lower beam on the rear wing, doesn't it?
Not had a close enough look at it, but I'll tell you one thing. That Adrian said to me, I think it was 2000, was it 2009 or 10? Anyway, he said, "Look, I want to put some dampers in the bell housing, a couple of dampers in there." And he said, how long is that going to take to change gear ratios? And I said, well, it's only 2, and they're on trap nuts, and we can get an air speed base. It's probably another 10, 15 minutes. So he said, oh, okay, great. So he put 6 in. So we had 6 dampers in the bell. That's what you're dealing with Adrian. And it was. I want to sneak
sneak a couple of dampers into the bell house. Yeah, be all right. Yeah, fine.
6.
6. Yeah. So I love all of that. I love the fact that he's demonstrating his ability. He's demonstrating that he hasn't lost any of his ability to think differently, and introduce all of these different. Really take a look at the new regulations, the new rule book, and get out of it everything he thinks is going to make a fast racing car. Obviously, again, we go back to his career record, and he's just got this fantastic record that normally means he strikes gold. I have heard that struggling with Honda reliability. We know, I know from personal experience, of course, that when Honda came back into Formula One, that was a big challenge for them, and this is a real shake-up. They're obviously very established now, right? They're out in Sakura in Japan. They've got a huge facility. They've got a facility now in the UK, so it's not as, shall we say, it's never going to be as bad in inverted, in quotation marks as winding back to what year was it? Crikey, 2015 or whatever that bad time with McLaren was. It's never going to be like that.
I wonder what's going through Fernando's head.
Well, yes, that's a very good point.
They let him down in India as well while he's leading.
Yes, yeah. So not ideal.
So he was quite vocal about Honda. So that'll be an interesting relationship depending on performance. So, and
so I really hope it's not bad for Honda. I really hope it's not, because
likewise.
I want to see that car and combination with that power unit and with, to your point, with Fernando being competitive. I'm sure that all motorsport fans the world over want to see that, because it'll be the Silverstone team that we know has gone through God knows how many name changes, ownership changes, all of that sort of stuff. So it'd be fantastic to see that team winning rather than the established, shall we call them the established teams winning.
I agree. Everybody likes the underdog, and I just hope it's not hampered by the performance of the engine, because that would be terrible. You have a fantastic car, perhaps, and a bad lump.
I mean, they're kind of the underdog. Well, I mean, what they're not they definitely aren't an underdog is their finance, is it? Right. No. So we know that they are well financed, but they've never been there was that time, I think it was Heinz Howard was driving for them when it was Eddie's team still. Yeah. I can't remember when that was, and they had a kind of a bit of a championship run, didn't they? And it was
they did, yeah.
And late 90s, was
race or two, didn't he? Heinz won a race or two, didn't he?
Yeah, and that was great to see. So, and that's the closest I think you could argue that they've come to mounting a proper championship challenge. So I think it'd be fantastic for the sport if they're fast and if they've got this car that's really shaking everybody up. Everybody's come out with these cars of a similar philosophy, and Adrian seems to have come out with this car that's just got these different elements on it. It's there for everybody to see. You can check the differences between all of these cars, and then you look at the Aston Martin. So that's That'll be great to see.
Yeah. I've noticed a few aero things that we've had previously, and I think one of them is the front wing end plate with the curl to clean up the air at the front, and the Aston Martin side pod, the way it dips away at the end is very much like 2009, 2010 era at Red Bull, which is really tight. Which I think some people are saying that could start acting like a double diffuser. But like I said, we're not getting too technical.
No. I mean, you're right.
The cars are going to look probably quite a bit different, right? Everybody's saying, "Oh, people are building two cars." Well, they're not. They're just an aero upgrade, right? So that's standard. Some of these pundits don't really get it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
As we spoke about before, but I mean, Mercedes 500 laps. What are we saying about that?
So that for me is the most impressive. And we're not talking about Mercedes engines in other cars. We're talking about the works team, Brackley, MGP, 500 laps plus, right? That's the real headline coming out of this week of testing at Barcelona.
The other thing is, we all like it when the car's running because we're not working on it, right? So if it comes out there and we'll do 100 laps and straight out the box, we're back in the garage huddling, tire warmers and having a cup of tea, trying to keep warm. So that's
it's not like one for the boys. It's not like there's a truckload of spares that need taking out and prepping and all the rest of it, and spare rear ends that need building up and all the rest of it, because you haven't got a lot of that stuff. It just don't exist at this time of year. No. So super impressive. They did a full race simulation as well. That's proper progress, that is. And of course you'll know, Ken, that what that does is that feeds the machine back at Brackley. All the time you're turning wheels at a racetrack this time of year, you're getting that data. That data's going back pretty much live back to the base, feeds their simulations. They can cross-refer real car data and information with what they thought was going to happen, and they're learning. All the time you're in the garage, you're not feeding that machine. You're not feeding your factory. All of that support, all of that simulation, all of those engineers back at your various headquarters. That they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Not exactly. I know they'll be flat out, but but they're crying out for that information from the track, and Mercedes-Benz have just done the best job at that. That for me that's the headline. So.
And I imagine it's all the same facilities, right? I remember when I was at Red Bull, it actually looks like NASA, right? There's desks and desks on different tiers, and you can get 60 people in there easily, and they're going there. They see everything, all the data, multiple screens, and you've got all the engineers, designers looking at that and watching it, and it's phenomenal when you think about it. It is actually just looks like NASA. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's just a mission control. That's not even the wider engineering office or the aero department that really want to know how their cars, their front wings getting on, and is it reattaching when it goes into those two different modes. Same with the rear wing. What's the flow like around the side pods? Blah blah blah. All of that stuff. And
that's just the chassis. Never mind the engine. Yeah. The engine's the same again.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. So. And Mercedes-Benz, you've just got to say hats off, and they've just done a fantastic job. So
they look like a powerhouse again, don't they? So we know there's they might have an advantage with engines with this 16 to 18.1 compression rate with the expanding 3D printed pistons, etc. What everybody's talking about, and I don't know if that's something that you can that is an easy upgrade for the likes of Honda.
I
think when you just say it's
upgrade that, isn't that one?
It's a 3D printed, very lightweight, sort of spongy, not spongy piston, but the expansion is moves a bit. That's quite tricky, but it might not be the end of the world to look at. So very impressed with Red Bull with their engine reliability straight out of the box. I mean that's I think I said in the last podcast. That's phenomenal.
No, it's Ben Hodgkinson, isn't it? But again, with Phil Prue and Steve Brodes, and good job done by those guys. One thing I am picking up on is I guess I knew it'd be a thing, but I didn't realise how tricky it might be. But the whole how you use the electrical energy and so on, and in qualifying as well, by all accounts, that's going to be quite a job managing that. So if you can imagine, you've got so much energy, so you've got to manage. You've always had to manage traffic and tyre temps and all the rest of it in qualifying really, really cleverly, right? It's always been a task for the team and the driver to work together to how, you find that clean lap, you send your car out. Like I say, you make you do your smart out lap, so your tyres are right up to temperature by the time you've crossed the line and not too hot, not too cold. But now you've got this whole energy management. So if you don't want to, it's how you use the electrical energy on that out lap to get the tyres up to temp. But if you use too much, by the end of your lap, you've used too much electrical energy and you're going to be slow. I don't
like that format. It should be one thing or the other, I think, in my mind. But I think the other thing that's going to be particularly tricky is the the aero backing on and off, and drivers getting used to that in every zone at every track. That's going to be a bit of an eye opener and wake up call for some people going, oh shit, I forgot I picked up a load of speed, or now the wings are back on, and I think that's going to be a huge learning curve for drivers. I know they've all sat in the simulators and been through that, but when it's a bit more real, and I think that could be a few surprises for a few drivers, I think.
And just on that, any team worth its salt now, what they're going to be doing is, now that the drivers have driven, with the exception of Williams, of course, but now that the drivers have driven the real car, the simulator model will be upgraded because they've got that real car data now. So whilst everybody tries their best to get the sim model as accurate as can be, and drivers are often on their first day of driving the car will comment on that, it's the sim's pretty accurate, this has been a good first day in comparison, or conversely, no, that's a load of shit. The sim's nothing like it. Regardless, the sim model now will be upgraded, so a lot of the race car drivers will get back into the sim before Bahrain. So but for the Bahrain
the guys that have been upgrading and running the sim have got a full pan of chips for sure, and also does it correlate the same as a wind tunnel? Sometimes
exactly.
We've had a lot of issues with correlation in the days. It doesn't, what the actual car does isn't the same as a wind tunnel. But
I got to tell you, in some pretty bleak times around at McLaren in the Honda days when the Honda power unit. This is in the I'm not talking about the 80s and the early 90s with Honda. I'm talking the most recent Honda times. Yeah, the Honda engine wasn't great, but the chassis and the aero package was poor as well, right? And it was an easy thing in many quarters just to hang all the blame on Honda, but it wasn't that simple.
I also at one stage in my career, certain technical director, I'm not dissing anybody here, but it was quite easy to blame the correlation between the wind tunnel and CFD and the car, when actually they just done a shitty job. and it was the excuse.
Yeah, so
the big excuse. We've got problems with the correlation. Yeah, we have to take the wind tunnel down, or it doesn't match with CFD and all of this. When actually it was just a flying.
So So like every
Yeah,
Formula One
own up,
team,
mate. You done a shitty job.
like every Formula One team, after a race weekend, you have all hands like debrief, and in that period, the all the message was about correlation, 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 and I'm aware that some of the workforce started to call that meeting Correlation Street.
Yeah, going down that road again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
bit of a
So,
soap opera. Yeah,
yeah, I think Bahrain's going to be, we're going to be obviously have a bit more information. The temperature is going to be warm there. What you've got Barcelona is so bloody cold. It's hard to get
yeah,
tires up to temperature. The cars are all behaving slightly different.
that's
It's
it.
great for mileage, engine mileage, but I think for chassis wise and more relevant times, lap times, I'm looking forward to that, which is next week, I believe.
Yeah,
And
I'm excited to see the Williams as well.
yeah,
Hopefully they
the,
can
o-
bounce back. I mean, the
the
good one of the good things for Williams, right, is they've got what's probably going to be the strongest PU, right, and
yeah,
and a load of the other teams that have got that same PU, that same engine and electrical element have done a load of the heavy lifting for them already, haven't they? You've got your own installation, your own cooling package that goes along with it. It's how you make it work, all of that stuff, right? But at least a lot of the gutty, grunty stuff has been done for Willies, so they can, there'll be some information share for sure, about running conditions of the ice and the electrical element. So they get a bit of a leg up like that, but they've still got to run their own car.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think it's good to see Mercedes, looking strong again because they've basically been beaten by their customer team the last couple of years,
So
which must be
yeah,
like salt in Toto's wound. And of course, I'm sure Zach hasn't milked that at all. Um, but they're going to be desperate to get back on top of that. It's
yeah,
not like the old days where you'd have a customer team, and if you wasn't doing so good, you could actually turn that customer team's engine down, which I have known to happen, which is a bit rude, really. But they can't do that anymore because that's closely monitored by FIA and so forth, etc.
yeah.
But
There'll be none of
yeah,
that kind of, but I mean, you're exactly right. That anybody who thinks that Mercedes-Benz, the works team, are gonna take being beaten by
battered
their
again,
own, by their own
absolutely
technology,
battered. Yeah.
you got another thing coming. It's like a paper cup in a very sensitive place, isn't it?
But it's kind of looking promising, isn't it? Because you've got McLaren are obviously going to be good. It looks like Mercedes are back. Ferrari, what are we saying about them?
Yeah,
And Hamilton up there. Maybe it's he said the car's a little bit more twitchy and maybe it's a bit more drivable. It can slide the car differently, etc. Whether they're lighter and more nimble and shorter, etc.
that's
So that's back. Maybe it's back down to his type of driving style, which
well,
will be
that's what I was just about to say.
Hamilton,
That's
Lewis back.
Yeah, yeah. I think that he obviously never liked those ground effect cars. That was just a car he just failed to get to grips with. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, I
we'll
think Sebastian went through it, didn't he? Sebastian Vettel went to say when we went to hybrid, he just hated that. He hated those
yeah,
hybrid engines. And he had a glorious V10, revving at 18,000 RPM the year before, and that's not how he operated.
yeah,
And I can see why it doesn't. Some things don't suit other drivers, as we know.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think Bahrain will be quite good.
yeah. I'm looking forward to
One
that.
question I've
And
got:
of course, yeah. Go on. Then.
do because of the engine reliability, etc. Do when you go testing, do you have night shift anymore? Because we used to have a night shift, didn't we? Because we used to either work all night. for days on end. I don't know if they still have night shifts, do they?
I think so. I didn't actually when I was chatting to
because the race team did the running in the daytime.
I've got to ask him, but
yeah, and then we used to have the car building test, whatever was left of the test team or events crew used to come in, and I remember coming in at like 7 o'clock in the morning. It looked exactly the fucking same as it did when I left. The engine back off the chassis, and you've got 2 hours to get it to finish it. Okay, what you been doing? Oh, well, we've been waiting for parts. We didn't get the parts till 2 o'clock this morning. They put the same old thing. They put get the jet on. Get the parts out there. Get the jet. And that was one of the sayings. And we'll get into another story about one of those we did from for get the jet on from UK to Japan, which was quite an eventful. Build a front wing in a jet. But yeah, I mean, like I said, doesn't mean anything right now. All these times. Let's have a look next week. I think it's going to probably be the second race before we really know where we are.
Yeah, I think you're right. I got just before we sign off. I have got one jet story to tell you. That there used to be this guy at McLaren who was like pivotal to all the operations. Chris Robson. And, yeah, fantastic guy, absolutely fantastic. He was at Brabham before he was at McLaren. He said he worked for Bernie, and Ron. This was in the era of Ron, still being very much at the heart of running the race team and as well as the wider business, and Robbo come to us, oh, Granny, you got that stuff, you got, because Ron's going to take it on a jet. And I had a conversation, I said, oh, Ron must hate it, mustn't he? Taking all this shit on his jet, getting his carpet dirty or whatever and whatnot. And Robbo said, oh, no, Granny, quite the opposite. He said, Ron loves taking stuff on a jet because he could then recharge the jet use back to McLaren, so he didn't have to pay for the jet use then. So Ron would
company.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it's a company. It's
take
a rather than Ron Dennis cost. So
just take a handful of K-nuts in your pocket and say, I'm going to recharge.
Ron used to love it. So there you go.
Okay. Right. Well, till we see some more running, I think we're at a wrap. Thanks for everybody that's supporting us, and please leave comments and ask questions. If anybody's got any questions, please drop us a line, and we'll be happy to either answer it or definitely make something up.
Absolutely. please, as Ken said, just message us. There's plenty of formats and everything that you can do that on. So we will get back to you. We really will. Any questions at all, let us know. So. And yes, while there's no on-track activity with Formula One, the podcast will be coming out every week. We've got plenty of things to share. We've got plenty of things to talk about in not just Formula One, but in wider motor racing as well. And of course, we've got a lot of old stories to tell, and we're going to get some guests on very shortly as well. So. Really looking forward to the next phase and the next stage of the podcast as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.